Ralph, how long were you with the CIA?
I was with them 25 years. I joined in 1952. I retired in 1977.
What was your function? What was your job?
I had a variety of jobs. I was a case officer on intelligence collection. I was a covert operator. I was involved in paramilitary operations. In the last 4 years with the agency, I was an analyst with the International Communism Branch.
Paramilitary operations where?
In Thailand and to a degree in Vietnam.
How do you view the CIA? Let me rephrase that question. A good many of us do not have a clear picture of what the CIA does. I think many of us believe it is an intelligence gathering agency, that it gets information, that information becomes intelligence, and then it passes it on to key areas in the government. Is that an accurate impression?
No, it isn't. It's my view, and it's supportable by all the evidence we can see in the Church Committee report and the Pike Committee report and other collateral information. The CIA is not an intelligence agency. It's a covert action agency. Covert action being overthrowing or supporting foreign governments. Another part of covert action is disinformation. And the American people, in my estimation, are the primary target audience of the agency's disinformation operation. And I view Vietnam, the entire Vietnam War, was brought to us, sold to us, by agency disinformation operations. When I say us, I mean the American people.
Well, that had to be done, of course, through the press.
Yes.
How else would one reach the American public? Well, how does the CIA develop its relationship with the press?
Well, it happens on many levels in many different ways. It could be a director of agency contact with a publisher, or it could be a lower-level agency employee with a lower-level person, or managing editor, per se, or it could be hiring agency people and placing them in the news organization, or it could be giving information to a reporter and winning his goodwill. It could be just a friendship sort of basis. It sort of covers the skein of relationships that you can have, in any social situation.
This relationship demands participation on the part of the press, though, does it not?
Oh, of course.
Well, how does it participate?
It can participate in many ways. It can publish articles that the agency wants published.
Knowingly publish it because the CIA wants it done, or
unknowingly?
Yes.
Well, both. Knowingly most of the time, I would guess. And sometimes the information is passed to a reporter as valid information, a good scoop, if you will, when it's just planted propaganda. Mm-hmm. So the agency uses the press in numerous ways to achieve its, what I call, illusion-building properties.
Why does the CIA do this? What is the objective of the CIA when they put out disinformation, when they, you might say, co-opt the press?
One function of the agency, as noted by the Church Committee, is to create an international anti-communist ideology. Well, it's my thesis, the reason you want to create this international anti-communist ideology is so that when you go down to Nicaragua and you want to overthrow the government of Nicaragua, well, you can't justify to the American people going down there and overthrowing that government unless you can link it to a greater threat. It's just a little insignificant nation. But if you can link it to a greater threat, then you're justified in overthrowing it. And that's exactly what's happening in Nicaragua. It's not the Nicaraguans fighting to sustain the way of life that they want. It's the Cubans or the Soviets and Cubans who are supporting this regime, and we are therefore, by working against the Nicaraguan government, we are actually thwarting the plans of the Soviet Union. That justifies our actions in that country.
Let's pin down something you said a moment ago. Does this covert action exist in the CIA today as greatly as it did in the past?
As I understand, the covert action staff is being rebuilt on a massive scale. That Director William Casey is concentrating all his efforts in rebuilding this staff. And we can assume that it's operating again in academia, in the press, in the religious groups, in international groups, in labor, youth, students. If it isn't now, it will soon will be.
In your opinion, is the press manipulated as much today as in the past?
I don't think it's as possible to manipulate the press as much today as was in the past. The press is much more skeptical, as are the American people in general. It'd be more difficult to do it, yet I'm sure that in some areas, of course, it is being manipulated.
I think you've answered my question in part already, but the public, in your opinion, cannot be hoodwinked as easily as they were in the past. Is that what you're saying?
Right. I don't think they can be hoodwinked as easily. However, some of the illusions of the past continue, and one of those illusions is what the Vietnam War was all about.
Well, do you think with the manipulation of the press, which you have explained and which you believe still goes on to a degree, do you think another war such as Vietnam could be sold to the American people?
Not nearly so easily. I think it could be done, but it would take a more sustained effort, more across-the-board effort. I think there's a lot of skepticism out there, and it would be very difficult to sell, but it could be done.